Hey, it's Doug Giles, Warriors and Wildmen podcast. Rich, my buddy. Say howdy, Rich.
Howdy, Rich.
Hey, we're plowing in deeply into the skull of the Tinkerpot. I'm talking about the 20-something. Not really figured it out yet, dude. And we're here to take you and throw you down the yellow brick road. And we've been examining, at least I thought that was funny. We've been examining stuff that is a telltale sign that that you have had your balls snipped or slowly eroded at least, and formally in line to get outfitted with a big old whopping weeping mangina. And we saw that, Rich, what, if you don't provide for your family? Yeah, you got a problem, buddy.
Yep, you're worse than an unbeliever, an infidel.
If you're in between jobs, you just got canned, or your startup went tits up or something like that, I guarantee if you're a real dude, you're like, okay, let's get into the next thing, do whatever, dig holes, flip burgers, find something, and make some cash. Also, we saw that according to Rich and Doug's world, and it's the only world that matters, of course, that if you don't know how to protect yourself, again, you have frickin' missed the dude train. Wouldn't you say so?
I would say so.
Yeah, my daughters can defend themselves. Hello, and but there's you, little Tinkerbell. You can't defend yourself, can you? No, and so you run and you hide and you you wait for other people to protect you. And look, I got buddies. Rich, you got buddies. You got a lot of cops. Got a lot of badasses at your church. Marines, all kinds of dudes. The best and the brightest and the most efficient of them, if they got a call from you, unless they're down the block or in the next room, man, you're talking 20 minutes. You got to know how to protect yourself.
Yep.
Another sign, we're going to be stomping on this like a narc at a biker party today, is this is a sign that you were definitely not in the Dude Hall of Fame, is that you're not a hunter. Rich?
Got to hunt.
Unbelievable how much, how little dudes hunt nowadays. When I grew up, frickin' everybody on the block. I mean, literally, like every November, kids do you remember those notebooks that, again, this might predate you. If you run a carbon-14 test on me, I'm definitely, edge you out a little bit on the age issue. But you remember those 3-ring notebooks that had like the clear plastic cover?
Oh, yeah.
You could slide your pictures in. You got your chick, your girlfriend, got a picture of Farrah Fawcett, totally ruin, any kind of concentration, trying to get on during political science or something. But normally every November, maybe in October, starting with the bow season and stuff, October, November, December, definitely by the time Christmas break rocked up, all my bros, all my buddies, the notebooks filled front and back deer pictures, turkey
That's
pictures.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, stuff that we killed. There was very few people. It was usually the poor sap whose dad left him, who was being raised by a mommy that didn't go hunting, didn't know about hunting, and but you know what? Much different than today. They were fascinated about our exploits and our hunts, and usually if you gave them any kind of opportunity to go, they'd pack their crap and they'd come along with us, shoot rabbits, pheasants, dove, turkey, quail, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my dad had us out from the time we were really young, and we were hunting dove, hunting quail. That's what we hunted in Yuma. That's what there was.
Bro, dove are tough,
and
man.
that was great. Those were the
Except
greatest
for that
times.
dove that's in your ceiling fan outside right now, laying eggs, that Rich wanted to kill, and I've got to go on record. I could be morphing into Caitlyn Jenner. I don't know, a little soft spot this morning. I was like, Rich, let that bird have access to its eggs.
Well, let me tell you what happened, since Doug misrepresented
Rich is like,
what
screw
happened.
that damn bird, shitting all over the porch.
Ceiling fan out on the back porch. And I turned it on this morning, and a nest started flying all over the back porch and back patio. And I saw the place where a baby bird had fallen off and died, and a cat ate it. It looked like. I mean, I'm sure that's what happened.
It just
Not
had
from
like
me
two.
turning
It
it
just
on.
had like two feathers and kind of like this egg-looking
Little splot.
effluence.
Yeah.
You know?
And so
but
the
no bird to
dove
be
was
found.
upset because he built a nest on top of my fan, and I was like, well, I need to leave the fan on so he doesn't come back. And then
And
Doug's
he tried
like,
to come
yeah,
back.
but maybe we could move the nest. And I said, yeah, you can't touch it. And
No,
the
but
dove,
tell him about him coming in, man.
the dove kept flying in while we were sitting
Yeah,
there.
we're sitting there and we're just
doing like
blazing,
Top Gun maneuvers, and then he was
smoking
like
cigars.
like a Marine fighter pilot in a Harrier
Right.
jet, like hovering and doing
No, and
crazy
you could hear
stunts.
the blade, kind of hitting a thunk, kind of whack him. And I'd look up, and yeah, I was sitting there.
So I wasn't trying to kill him. I just didn't want him to go back to the nest, so I left the fan on. But Doug talked me into turning the fan off and letting it
Getting
return.
soft,
And guess
people.
what? Guess what? It's there right now,
Yeah.
sitting up there.
Yeah.
On top of that, getting ready to make my back patio look like the
Right.
shade over every gas station.
Yeah, gotta give you that. You got to put a statue there because doves and pigeons love to shit on statues, and that way concentrate it, and then you could give it away as a gift to some douche nut at your church who's
That'd be a
being a
good
jackass
prize.
or something.
So we grew up hunting dove, hunting quail. We didn't get to hunt, big game and stuff. People did out in the desert, but we didn't really grow up like that. But we always wanted to if we had a chance. And then, but it's a crazy thing. This last year, you were there, Doug. I took my boys hunting for the first time, and it was. They said it was their best vacation, greatest trip of their life.
Right.
The bonding, the man stuff, it was awesome. But I also got to teach them a lot of really awesome stuff in the process of hunting. And then we took the meat, brought it back, dropped it off the processor,
Yep.
picked it up, stacked the freezer. Next thing you know, we're eating it. And my youngest son, he was 13 at the time. He said, "Dad, we shot this, we cooked it, and now we're eating it." And he made a connection. And I think that's an important thing. We kind of lost
Here's
sight
where
of that.
meat comes from.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true because we think that you go down and the meat grows on the meat tree or something.
Yeah, and another thing that's interesting, I love to watch it kind of dawn on, whether young guys or young girls or older guys and older girls nowadays, is they make a connection, from field to plate.
Yeah, it's important.
Right. There ain't a meat tree. But hey, I think it's, and again, I could be wrong. I know I'm a over-opinionated type of dude, but I think it's pathetic, and it's sad, and it's unfortunate that a stack of men don't know how to hunt or fish any longer when it's indelibly dyed into their DNA as carnivores.
Yeah.
And listen, if the zombie apocalypse goes down, Rich, which it's about to go down.
It's close.
How will that guy and his poor family survive if you're not eating, the raccoon that's in the backyard? Stores are shut down. ATMs don't work. You're not eating any of my vacuum-packed venison, that's for sure. And good luck finding, precious tofu or edamame beans to sustain you and your liberal lover when you're fleeing from flesh-eating zombies, you non-hunting Nancy, right?
I remember we were eating breakfast, and I think you asked the waitress if that omelet was good, some omelet or something, and she says, "I don't know, I'm a vegan." It's like, oh, that's why your skin's gray.
Right. There's a chick, I don't know what her name is, but she wrote a book called The Vegetarian Myth, and I'm going to so hatchet how she got on to becoming a meat eater, probably became one of the most articulate stumpers for eating the flesh and hunting, but she got so sick, Rich. I mean, her health was just like total crap. I mean, her immune system shot. I think she's 46 now. She looks like she's 76. And her doctor told her, said, listen, if you don't start getting some flesh into you, some low-fat, high-protein venison yumminess, he said, you're going to be dead. He said, matter of fact, you've already knocked probably a quarter of a century off your life simply for your little vegan diet. And listen, guys are predators. That includes all the chicks. We're flesh eaters. And that's why you have these thing called eyeballs on the front of your skull. And what do you think God or evolution or whatever the heck you want to believe in physically outfitted you with fangs and eyes forward? What's that for? Deers don't have it. Guppies don't have it. God wanted you to, and it's not chiefly, I don't think, of course, that God wanted you to be able to see a Starbucks at like a great distance, and order a venti skinny macchiato with pumpkin spice, and then slurp and chew on that long green straw like a pussy. That's not what it was. That's not what they're there for. Eyes are placed forward in that useless skull of theirs, right? And the canines are placed in that whiny mouth in order for the person to see prey, in order for them to kill prey, in order for them, thirdly, to eat prey.
Pray tell.
I will, and I do. Let me go on a little wee bit of rabbit trail here, Rich, and for the next 900 words with a special message for the ladies. What do you think about that?
I like that.
And this is really weird. And you've got a fine woman in Annie, but I'll never forget in the summer of 2005 when my wife walked into my office, and I'm cleaning my guns. Had a beautiful gun cabinet there in Miami, built into like this massive walk-in closet, lighted, beautiful wood. And I'm sitting there talking to my two hunting bros about our next adventure, and my wife asked me to go hunt a bison.
That's a good wife.
Now,
that is a keeper.
Those who are listening to Warriors and Wildmen right now, when is the last time your wife ever asked you to go hunt? Now, not just go hunt, but go hunt a specific animal like a bison. Now, she said, here's what she said. She goes,
Can you have her call Annie?
Well, you can have Annie listen to this episode. She said, honey, can you shoot me a bison? And, I'm sitting there, and of course, I'm like immediately like, swing, And my buddy's like, does she have a sister? And my other buddy's like, I hate my life. But here's her reasoning. She goes, we'll get a freezer full of meat. And I did go hunt one. And I don't know if you saw the picture of it. Shot a nice big 10-year-old bull. Beautiful hair. Like I have 15-inch. We were pulling 15-inch hairs off his mane on the top.
Wow.
We got 494 pounds of low-fat, high-protein yumminess off that animal.
Wow.
And he'd already dumped his seeds. He'd already mated with the ladies. He'd already, refinished and refurbished and built the herd back up with all of his sperm going out to all the various cows. He'd done his thing. There's other bulls that are coming around. And Mary Margaret said not only that would we get a freezer full of meat, but check this out. She said a shoulder mount would look beautiful on our wall.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's nutty stuff, man. That's complete. And a wife asking a husband in our paranormal state of aggravated pussification to go hunting and bank some grub and then have the beast mounted and displayed proudly upon the walls. All I have to say, boys, about that unforgettable scenario was Yahtzee. And, of course, I got to tip my hand and my hat to the Lord Jesus that I married the right woman.
Good job. I think it was it 2016 or 2015? I went with you hunting, and
it's all a blur, man. It's all a blur.
Shot a whitetail.
Beautiful, a unicorn.
It's cool.
It had a third brow tine coming out of the middle of its head.
He was pretty awesome. And so shot my first deer, and I was actually talking to Annie about it, and I said, hey, Annie, I shot my first deer. It's cool. Well, something you need to know about Annie. She's from Montana. And so I said
it's about time, numbnuts.
Yeah, I said, have you ever shot a deer before? She goes,
yeah, when I was 12.
She said, yeah. And I said, how old were you when you shot your first deer? She goes,
all right,
I don't know, 12 or 13. I was like, really? She goes, yeah, I shot a deer every season, like everybody.
And then you're like, well, I can kick your ass.
And I said, well, what'd you shoot it with? And she goes, I don't know, a gun. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm from Montana. Like, we go out and we hunt.
That's how we roll.
And then they hand you a gun and you
do.
shoot it. And that's how you eat. That's what you eat. And I was like,
right.
Man, I wasn't raised like that.
Man, you're from the future, lady.
Yeah, you're awesome. So that's cool.
No,
that's a different mindset.
Right. But again, you guys are, it might not be Texas where you guys are sitting on the crazy game ranches that we have in the Lone Star State, but man, the elk, the bison, you guys ought to put in for a tag for desert bighorn sheep. Mule deer, you got the cow's whitetail, a lot of good stuff here in Arizona to whack.
Elk, black bear,
crawl up to the north of
javelina.
Flagstaff and stuff, and got some massive elk up there. Black bear, Arizona's got. They measure black bear not by the width or the length of the hide, but what they do is they do width and length of skull. And Arizona is like one of the top states for massive black bear. They also throw a bunch of different color phases. So they're Ursus americanus. They are the black bear, but they have black, blonde, red, all the flavors and colored selections. You guys ought to be just milking the shit out of it up here. A lot of stuff to whack and stack. What our motto is in Texas: if it's gray, it's prey. If it's brown, it's down. My buddies sat there when they heard my wife ask me to go shoot a bison. They were gobsmacked. I'm talking stupefied that a wife, listening ladies, would actually ask her husband to hunt. And I know some folks in Texas and Alaska don't find that odd. But when I was living in Miami at that time, and from what I've experienced with hunting and couples from around the globe, that was some Twilight Zone stuff. My buddy said hell would freeze over before my wife would ask me to go hunt. He goes, she barely, and listen to this, she barely allows me to go hunt.
He meant his mom, right?
Well, it seems as if that relationship did kind of morph into, from mother or lover to mother. And it's really bizarre, man, because I'll be around guys and, to hunt, it's not a cheap sport. Not cheap at all. I mean, it's the sport of kings. And if you venture into private guided hunts on private lands and stuff, it starts to take a tick up there. All the equipment's expensive, It's not,
but most places have things that aren't too expensive. I mean, like if I'm from Yuma. If you're in Yuma, you get a shotgun. You can get a shotgun for $250 or $300. You can be out there with your permit, and you can be out there knocking them down. That's exciting hunting. That's
yeah. But if you get demon possessed with it like I am, then it's like
it's going to cost a few bucks.
Yeah. What were we talking about? How did we get in this? Oh, the wives and their husbands. Yeah. But so I got some buddies. They make good money. They're not hurting. Good 6-figure income, some 7. And yet they'll sit there, and these guys are freaking badasses. They've conquered the business world. They've done stuff, and they're like, can I go hunting? What kind of crap is that? I mean,
that's weird.
No, it's like, can I go hunting? Can I put a deer on the wall, or, an elk, or, one of the great exotic animals from Texas, or if they go abroad, can I do this?
Well, I can understand. I can understand if he's talking about schedule and what's going on and what's a good date and what do you think, or a conversation, or you're my wife.
My son having brain surgery. Don't want to blow that off so you can go brown bear hunting, man.
Yeah, or like, hey, what do you think about me going hunting on these dates? Not what do you think about me hunting as permission to hunt. What do you think about this hunt and this date?
We're talking about man, planning stuff 2 years out.
Yeah, that's not a can I.
Yeah, no, and I know this is tough, man, for some people, and some chicks are going to definitely turn off on it, but I'm glad I didn't marry some testicle-snipping, carping wife from hell, and you know what? I'm sad. I'm sad at my mate's grim situation, and especially the single guys. Get ready to find some girl that is really accommodating. And and it's not just hunting, it's not just killing. They understand the sustainable hands-on aspect of getting your own food through hunting. And people like that, I mean, there's some slim pickings for my amigos who are out there that are hoping and scoping, trying to find a lady. And for my buddies that have the carpy wife, the testicle snipper, man, I pity that state of hen peckedness.
Yeah, it's not going to stop at hunting anyway.
No, and it's probably across the board on everything else. And I like what Carlos Davidoff, the great founder of the Davidoff cigar line, he said. He was asked one time. He goes, "What does your wife?" No, he said. He goes, "Boys," he said, "if your wife doesn't like cigars, then get another wife."
Well, I'm all right on that because Annie smokes cigars. Boom.
Don't take it personally, Annie. Don't get mad. We're not talking about you. Now, because I hunt and fish a lot and I write about my pursuits afield, I've been blessed to know many professional hunters, guides, outfitters from Alaska to Africa, and I've been instrumental in hooking people up on epic adventures, Rich, from boar hunts to Cape buffalo hunts and everything in between. And I've also been on the receiving end of hearing guys who like to hunt tell me that they can't go hunting because, wait for it, the wife won't let them. Wow. What kind of grown man actually utters something like that? The wife won't let me. And again, I get it if we're talking about, you haven't paid your mortgage in the last 4 months. But if you've taken care of business, if you have a surplus, if it's you and the boy, listen, it's not like, hey, man, we're going to go, get all liquored and snackered up and hang out with strippers. This is hunting. This is going into God's country. This is being hands-on with your conservation. This is bringing meat home. This is being with the brothers. And you know what? We've had great times afield with family. Mary Margaret's been to Africa with me several times. The girls have been going since at a very young age. They've been putting the Bam to Bambi before, when they were in single digits, before they hit their teens and stuff. And so I just don't get it, man. I don't get these desperate housewives that do this kind of stuff to their husbands.
We talk about family and talk about hunting. I was talking about when we took my boys, and they were 18 and 13 when I took them hunting for the first time for big game. And we went out one day, and we usually would go out in the morning, hunt a little, see what we could find, then we'd go back and get lunch or breakfast, and then we'd go out and see what happened. Your day's kind of dictated by what happens. Well, on that day, I wounded a deer and an axis buck, and so we had to go do what you do, which is tracking,
right,
all day into the night, morning till night, on the side of a mountain. I have a scar on my arm from
and I know that ranch very well, and that's probably part of why they said that was one of the coolest trips that they'd ever done, because an animal doesn't walk on the road, especially if he's wounded.
Yeah. He
doesn't say, woohoo, here I am.
Nope.
He takes you on a magic carpet ride.
Right up the steepest mountain
into
with
those
really loose soil. And I have a scar on my arm from when I fell and slid down that mountain at night. That's whatever happens, So we were doing it, and I remember my sons, they were asking me, it was about probably 8 o'clock at night. We hadn't eaten anything all day, not one thing all day. And my boys said, Dad, we're hungry. And I said, what'd you do with those Cliff Bars I bought you? Well, they're back at the camp. And I said, well, why don't you have them? Well, we thought you were going to get them. And I said, that's weird. Do I look like your mother? I said, no. And I said, well, I guess you learned a lesson today, didn't you?
Right.
I said, you get your backpack, you put your stuff in it, you take what you need to take. I said, hey, do you think I'm hungry? They said,
bro, you can go right now, Rich, down the hallway, open up my backpack, Cliff Bar in it.
Yep, there you go.
And if the only reason why I don't have it is because we're traveling. Normally it has a gun, extra magazine. I'll have a gun on me at all times, but that'll also have a gun, extra magazine, loaded magazine in the gun, and it has a survival kit.
Yeah.
It's got something to create fire. It's got something a flash kind of reflective thing to send up some kind of signal
in
to
case
a search
it goes
party.
down.
It's got fishing line. It's got a hook. It's got several knives, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Got a little sheet, to keep me warm.
There you go.
In case I get a little chilly.
Well, I asked them. I said, "You think I'm hungry?"
Because stuff can go to hell.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
they said,
man, especially in Alaska, Africa. Forget about it, man.
I'm sure you're hungry. I said, do you hear me crying about it? And then Caleb was our guide. I said, you think Caleb's hungry? They said, yeah. I said, he's not crying about it. I said, we want to eat too. We'll let you know when it's time. And it was funny because, we finally ate. We ate at Sonic in the truck, and my kids ate that like if you threw dog food at some dogs that hadn't eaten in a week. Like, they went insane. They were like, oh my God, it's the best food we ever ate in our lives. They were like,
have you ever heard of this thing called ketchup?
Have you ever heard of this? So it was great. But I'm going to tell you what, They knew it was their fault. They knew it was their responsibility. Right. The next day, not only did they pack their pack with all the stuff that they needed, they came and double checked on my gear to make sure I had the stuff that I needed before we left. And they did it every day since then. Yeah. And it affected them when we came back. And when you do stuff like that and you get out there with your kids, you get out there with your families, you can train them in a positive atmosphere doing something that's awesome, and you can change their lives.
Yeah, I guarantee they grew about a foot after that trip. I'll never forget, there's this Haitian guy in Miami, 40 years old, never hunted, dad, total piece of shit, didn't do anything for him, no hands-on, nothing, sperm donor at the best, absentee landlord. And he was seeing all the pictures of us boar hunting, did a lot of boar hunting, the swamps there around the Kissimmee River south of Okeechobee. He's like, dude, I want to go. I go, have you ever shot a gun? It's like, no. It's like, you ain't going to hold a gun around me until you complete a course, and I'll give you about a year to do that and then prove that you're not going to shoot me in the back of the head once you get excited seeing seeing a jaybird or something. So he's like, bud, he goes, I want to do it. I said, okay, you're going to do it with a spear. And I know it's not politically correct to get a Haitian guy spear and all that other stuff, but we went ahead with the spear as the weapon of choice. Got these dogs to bay up a beautiful boar, man, and that boar's just shaking the palmettos, just going absolutely nuts. Like, okay, man, this is it. You're gonna go in there, and he was scared to death. And I was like, take your shirt off, man. It's like, get in there, and this is it. This is the initiation rite, man. You're going on a walkabout. You're about to get born again, right here, right now. Took off his shirt. He's got his spear. Looks like Mandingo, and the boar's in there just shaking the bushes. Dogs are running around. It's like, get in there, man! And I'm shoving him at the back. We got camera guys filming, and he just boom nails it with the spear. The hog starts going crazy, screaming for its life. Finally, it takes his last breath, and you know what? That guy came out bugging like buckwheat, big old saucer eyes, just totally tripping out. And it looked like he was walking 3 feet above the ground. And he said, and again, not an elaborate hunt, wasn't costly, like $250, kill a pig, and said the greatest experience of his life.
Yeah,
bar
that's
none.
awesome.
Bar
that's
none.
Awesome.
And he's like, dude, he said that was just totally epic. So, no, it's a rite of passage. It's something that's a must. But I'm gonna, Rich, I feel like how many minutes we got left? What are we talking about? We have 4 minutes left. I feel like I got to do this, man. I got to take it there. I want to gig these harpy controlling freak women. All right, and about what they do to their husbands when they do this kind of bullshit. Here's 11 things that we hate. All right, number 1. If you throw us under the bus in public, we hate it, right? Husbands, husbands hate this. Number 2, when you remind your husbands of their past failures, guess what? We hate that too. When you unload on them as soon as they walk into the door, hate.
It makes us not in a hurry to get home.
Number 4, when you expect your husband to be just like your girlfriend, hate. Number 5, when you expect them to read your mind, hate. Number 6, when you treat them like a kid, we hate it. Number 7, when you unload the big guns on them at 11 o'clock at night, hello.
And then you say, you're not allowed to let the sun go down on your wrath. It's like the sun's been down for 4 hours before you
could have brought it up earlier.
There's another proverb, I just wrote it. You're not allowed to bring up your wrath until the sun comes up.
Commandment number 11, Doug's right. Number 7, number 8, when you compare them to the perfect guy at church, we hate that. Number 9, when you give them the silent treatment, hate. Number 10, when you use sex as a weapon, we hate that one. Number 11, when you complain about their going hunting and or fishing, we hate that one. Oh, by the way, Rich, check this out. A happily married woman wrote 1 through 10. I wrote number 11. That was a woman.
That'll make people mad.
That was a woman. Ladies,
a woman wrote that.
Hey, ladies, if you're pissed at me right now and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to send him an email. Again, Rich and my email, Rich or Doug at wedon'tgiveacrap.com. That's Rich or Doug at wedon'tgiveacrap.com. Now, not only guys and ladies do men who would be men hate the aforementioned, but you know what? God also, according to the scriptures, is sympathetic with the plight of a husband who's married to a contentious dame. Solomon, what do you say? Better to dwell in like the corner of Rich's attic than in a house shared with a contentious woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not us. Ouch, baby. I know it. Ladies, real men are naturally hardwired to be hunters. True men are providers, protectors, hunters, and heroes. And to stymie this effectively neuters the dude and keeps him from the man that God made him to be, and diminishes him to the realm of the effeminate. And trust me, girls, if and when the crap hits the fan, you don't want some browbeaten tinkerpot who can't put meat in the pot should the economy in the country go to hell in a handbasket, right? And listen, ladies, and Rich, feel free to jump in, but I'm on a roll here, man. If I was a woman, and I'm not, even though I do like Kate Hudson movies, I would thank the good Lord that my husband was a hunter. At least he's not gambling. He's not going to strip clubs. He's not banging Rhonda, the overly pierced Hooters waitress. At least he's not. At least he's getting away from the concrete, getting away from the mall, getting away from the plastic and Facebook, and interfacing with God and nature, and getting his soul restored. At least he's part of hands-on conservation through hunting. And if he's a good dad, he's bringing his kids along in this grand pastime of global stewardship, and he's putting food on the table versus chemical-laced store-bought poison that you indoor boys eat.
Yeah, just to touch on that a little bit. The worst thing to do is to neuter a man and then get mad at him because he can't produce. You know, I mean, don't marry somebody because they're a man and then turn him into a chick and then be mad that you're married to a chick.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, ladies, bless the hunter, angler husband that you have. I'm talking feed him with a sense of pride that you have an alpha male who can both bring home big dollars and big deer. And surprise him this week and ask him to go hunting and fishing. Sure, initially he'll think that you're cheating on him with Julio the pool boy and you want him out of the house or that you fell or hit your head. But when he sees you lighten up, and you'll find the tension die down, and that could help your tedious union. At least you can take pride that you're not married to a metrosexual.
And if your name's Annie and you're married to Rich, you should probably tell your husband, you know what would look great? A full body-mounted kudu.
Dang right, man.
Right in the middle of our living room.
Dude, I'm looking at the wall right now.
There's room.
That
That's
thing's
a big
screaming,
wall.
I need a kudu.
It says kudu.
It's like, kudu here, please.
Big
Hey,
one.
one last ditty for the single dudes. If you hunt or want to hunt and you're dating some girl that doesn't like hunting, pick your shit up now and run like a banshee chewing leather in the opposite direction. If you don't, then don't whine to me and Rich when the anti-hunting chickens come home to roost. You're welcome, and make the counseling check out to Doug Giles and Rich Whitmer, Warriors and Wildmen Podcast.